Introduction. Anger is one of the most destructive emotions we experience, often hijacking our peace of mind and clouding our judgment. But what if you could train yourself to remain calm, composed, and unshaken, no matter what others do or say? Stoic philosophy, practiced for thousands of years, offers timeless wisdom on mastering your emotions and achieving true inner freedom. In this lesson, we'll explore practical Stoic strategies that teach you how to never get angry or bothered by anyone, transforming challenges and provocations into opportunities for growth and resilience. By learning to control your reactions rather than letting the world control you, you can maintain a steady mind, unbreakable focus, and an unwavering sense of tranquility. One, that you control only your reactions. Life is unpredictable, filled with situations and events over which we have little to no control, from sudden setbacks at work to unexpected conflicts with people we care about. The core principle of personal resilience, drawn from Stoic philosophy, is understanding that while you cannot control external circumstances, you can control your own reactions. This distinction is critical because much of human suffering arises not from what happens to us, but from how we respond to it. When faced with adversity, the natural impulse is often to react impulsively, shouting, blaming, or panicking. Yet, these reactions usually worsen the situation and prolong internal discomfort. By recognizing that your emotions and responses are yours to govern, you reclaim a profound form of power. Practicing this requires mindfulness and self-awareness. Before reacting, pause and ask yourself whether your response will lead to clarity and constructive action or simply feed frustration and regret. This does not mean suppressing emotions or becoming indifferent, but rather approaching each moment with measured discernment, aligning your reaction with your long-term values rather than fleeting impulses. Over time, consistently controlling your reactions cultivates emotional independence, freeing you from being a prisoner of circumstance or the whims of others. It allows you to maintain inner peace even when chaos surrounds you, turning every challenge into an opportunity for growth. For example, when someone insults you, the insult itself holds no inherent power. The power lies in whether you allow it to disturb your peace. Responding with calm composure or strategic silence often has far greater impact than immediate retaliation. Similarly, in professional setbacks, instead of succumbing to frustration or self-doubt, analyzing the situation objectively and responding with deliberate action fosters progress and resilience. The practice of controlling reactions also strengthens relationships, as measured responses prevent escalation and promote understanding, empathy, and mutual respect. This principle extends beyond interpersonal dynamics. It applies to personal goals, health, and stress management. You cannot control traffic, economic fluctuations, or global events, but you can control whether you react with anger, anxiety, or proactive planning. Importantly, mastery over reactions does not develop overnight. It requires deliberate practice, reflection, and occasionally learning from mistakes. Journaling, meditation, or simply pausing before responding are practical methods to reinforce this habit. Ultimately, the wisdom lies in accepting that your internal state is your domain and that peace, clarity, and resilience emerge from governing that domain wisely. By focusing on what you can control, your responses, you transform challenges into opportunities, cultivate emotional strength, and create a life guided by intention rather than circumstance, demonstrating that true freedom resides not in changing the world around you, but in mastering the world within you. 2. Detach from external opinions. Detaching from external opinions is one of the most powerful steps toward inner freedom and personal growth. Most people unconsciously allow the judgments, expectations, and perceptions of others to dictate their self-worth, decisions, and emotional state. Yet true strength lies in understanding that external opinions are neither permanent nor necessarily accurate reflections of reality. When we anchor our sense of value in the thoughts and judgment of others, we give away our autonomy, allowing our peace and clarity to be dependent on forces outside our control. Detachment does not mean becoming indifferent or cold. Rather, it involves cultivating a discerning mind that listens to external perspectives without being enslaved by them. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that we should focus on what is within our control, our actions, our thoughts, our intentions, and recognize that the opinions of others are inherently outside the sphere. People will always have biases, misconceptions, and emotional responses that reflect more about them than about us, and recognizing this truth allows us to build a resilient inner self. By gradually detaching from external opinions, we free ourselves from the exhausting cycle of constant validation seeking and the fear of judgment, which often leads to anxiety, overthinking, and self-doubt. This detachment encourages a deeper connection with one's authentic self, allowing decisions to be based on personal values, long-term goals, and moral principles rather than fleeting social approval. Furthermore, detachment does not require rejecting advice or constructive feedback. It simply entails filtering input through a lens of critical discernment, absorbing what is useful for growth while discarding what is irrelevant, misinformed, or emotionally charged. Practically, this can be cultivated through mindful reflection, journaling, and meditation, which train the mind to observe thoughts, both internal and external, without being controlled by them. Over time, detachment from external opinions builds emotional independence, empowering individuals to handle criticism, praise, or indifference with the same composed equanimity. It reduces unnecessary mental clutter, allowing energy to be redirected toward meaningful pursuits rather than being dissipated by trying to please everyone. Importantly, detachment nurtures confidence rooted in self-awareness rather than ego, as one begins to measure success and fulfillment by personal standards rather than societal approval. The more one practices this discipline, the more resilient and focused one becomes, capable of navigating relationships, work, and social situations without being swayed by the whims of others. Ultimately, detaching from external opinions is not about isolation or arrogance. It is about self-liberation, clarity, and empowerment. It is a lifelong practice that strengthens emotional stability, fosters authentic living, and allows one to engage with the world freely, guided by reason and virtue rather than by the transient, often contradictory judgments of others. In a world obsessed with comparison and social validation, learning to detach from external opinions is both a radical act of self-care and a cornerstone of inner peace. Practice emotional awareness. Practicing emotional awareness is one of the most transformative skills you can develop for personal growth, relationships, and mental resilience. Emotional awareness is the ability to recognize, understand, and accurately label your own emotions as they arise, without immediately reacting or suppressing them. At its core, it requires mindfulness, a conscious attention to your internal state, noticing subtle shifts in mood, tension, or energy in the body that signal an emotional response. By becoming aware of your emotions, you gain the power to respond rather than react, breaking free from the automatic patterns that often lead to regret, conflict, or stress. Many people live their lives dominated by unexamined emotions, letting anger, jealousy, or frustration dictate their behavior. Without awareness, these emotions can accumulate and manifest in ways that harm relationships, decision-making, and even physical health. Emotional awareness allows you to identify triggers, specific situations, words, or behaviors that provoke certain feelings, so that you can approach them with clarity and intentionality. For example, if you notice that criticism from a colleague triggers defensiveness, recognizing this response gives you the choice to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully rather than lash out. Beyond self-management, emotional awareness fosters empathy and deeper connections with others. By understanding your own emotional landscape, you are better equipped to recognize emotions in others, interpret their needs accurately, and communicate in a way that is compassionate and effective. This skill is critical in both personal and professional life, as it enhances negotiation, conflict resolution, and leadership by enabling you to read situations accurately and act with emotional intelligence. Developing emotional awareness also requires a non-judgmental attitude toward your feelings. Emotions are signals, not commands. They carry information about your desires, values, and boundaries. Feeling anger, sadness, or fear does not make you weak or flawed. It simply highlights an area that deserves attention. By labeling emotions with precision, reflecting on their origins, and acknowledging them without shame, you strengthen your ability to navigate life's challenges with calmness and resilience. Techniques such as journaling, meditation, deep breathing, and mindful reflection are powerful tools to cultivate this awareness. Over time, as you consistently practice recognizing and understanding your emotions, you will notice a significant shift in how you relate to yourself and the world around you. You become less reactive, more patient, and more grounded, making decisions from clarity rather than impulse. Emotional awareness ultimately empowers you to live authentically, respond skillfully to challenges, and maintain inner equilibrium regardless of external circumstances. It is a cornerstone of emotional intelligence and self-mastery, shaping not just how you feel, but how effectively you live. Mastery of this skill transforms life into a conscious journey where emotions serve as guides rather than burdens, leading to greater happiness, healthier relationships, and a profound sense of inner freedom. Reframe challenges as opportunities. Life is full of challenges, obstacles, and setbacks, yet the way we perceive these difficulties defines whether we grow stronger or become stuck in frustration. Reframing challenges as opportunities is a mindset rooted in resilience and personal growth, allowing individuals to transform adversity into a catalyst for success. When faced with a problem, the natural instinct is often to resist it, complain, or feel overwhelmed, but this approach keeps us trapped in a cycle of negativity. Instead, by consciously choosing to view challenges as chances to learn, improve, or innovate, we shift our focus from what is going wrong to what can be gained. Every obstacle carries a hidden lesson, whether it is a chance to develop patience, enhance skills, strengthen relationships, or build inner strength. For instance, failure in a project at work can be painful, yet it offers an opportunity to analyze mistakes, refine strategies, and approach future tasks with greater wisdom. Similarly, personal hardships, such as conflict with loved ones or unexpected setbacks, push us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves, uncover areas for self-improvement, and cultivate empathy toward others. The process of reframing is not about denying reality or pretending difficulties do not exist. It is about consciously shifting perspective to extract value from every situation. Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes controlling our perception and focusing on what is within our power, teaches that we cannot always choose what happens to us, but we can choose how we respond. By asking, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can this make me stronger?" we redirect energy from frustration into constructive action. Over time, this mindset fosters emotional resilience as we become less reactive to external circumstances and more proactive in shaping our own growth. Challenges then become not barriers, but stepping stones, each one a deliberate invitation to expand our capabilities and refine our character. Moreover, reframing challenges encourages creativity and innovation because it pushes us to think beyond limitations and explore solutions that may not have been considered under stress or negativity. It also builds confidence, as consistently overcoming difficulties reinforces a sense of competence and adaptability. In essence, life does not present challenges to punish us, but to prepare us for higher levels of achievement and fulfillment. When we embrace this perspective, setbacks lose their sting, and we gain clarity, courage, and wisdom. The practice of reframing challenges as opportunities is a lifelong habit that requires mindfulness, patience, and a willingness to embrace discomfort. Yet, it is one of the most powerful tools for personal transformation, turning struggles into lessons, failures into insights, and obstacles into stepping stones toward success. Those who master this approach find themselves not only surviving the hardships of life, but thriving because they have learned to see every difficulty as an essential part of their journey toward growth, strength, and fulfillment. 5. To embrace the Stoic principle of amor fati. Embracing the Stoic principle of amor fati, which translates to love of fate, is a transformative approach to life that teaches us to fully accept and even embrace whatever happens, whether perceived as good or bad. Unlike mere resignation, amor fati is an active love for life in its entirety, including its challenges, obstacles, and unexpected turns. The Stoics believe that the universe operates according to reason and that everything that happens is part of a larger, interconnected order. By cultivating an attitude of amor fati, we stop resisting reality and start aligning ourselves with it, recognizing that every event, even painful or disappointing ones, carries value and potential for growth. This principle encourages us to reframe setbacks as opportunities, understanding that difficulties are not random punishments, but essential aspects of life that shape our character. Instead, become an active participant in life, finding meaning in every experience rather than seeking to escape it. This does not mean ignoring pain or suppressing emotions. Rather, it involves seeing adversity as an invitation to practice virtue, patience, and courage. For example, when faced with failure, someone who practices amor fati does not wallow in regret or self-pity but examines the situation objectively, asks what lessons can be learned, and adjusts their actions accordingly. Similarly, Unexpected joys are appreciated not with entitlement but with gratitude, acknowledging them as fleeting yet meaningful moments within the vast flow of existence. By embracing fate fully, one cultivates inner peace, because resistance to reality is a primary source of frustration, anger, and anxiety. The more we fight what is inevitable, the more we suffer. Conversely, when we accept life's events as they come, we free ourselves from unnecessary mental anguish. Furthermore, amor fati fosters a profound sense of responsibility and empowerment. Recognizing that we cannot control external events but can control our perceptions and responses, we shift our energy from futile complaints to purposeful action, focusing on what is within our control. Over time, this mindset develops emotional resilience, humility, and a deep appreciation for the richness of life and all its complexity. Embracing amor fati also strengthens gratitude, because even challenges are seen as gifts that contribute to our growth. By loving our fate, both its joys and its trials, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life, finding meaning in experiences that might otherwise seem random or unfair. Ultimately, practicing amor fati transforms life from a series of inconveniences and misfortunes into a continuous journey of growth, understanding, and fulfillment, enabling us to live fully in the present moment without fear, regret, or resentment, and to approach life with courage, wisdom, and a heart open to whatever comes our way. 6. Focus on virtue, not approval. In a world constantly seeking validation through likes, praise, and recognition, the pursuit of approval can become a dangerous trap, diverting attention from what truly matters, cultivating virtue and inner excellence. When one bases decisions and actions on the expectations of others, life becomes performance, dictated not by reason or conscience, but by the fleeting opinions of those around us. The Stoics remind us that the only true good is virtue, moral excellence expressed through wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. Focusing on virtue means prioritizing integrity over popularity, honesty over flattery, and character over image. It requires a deliberate effort to act rightly even when no one is watching, to resist shortcuts and compromises that might earn temporary approval but erode one's moral foundation. By grounding one's actions in virtue, we free ourselves from the anxiety and frustration that arise when others fail to recognize or appreciate our efforts. Approval is external, unpredictable, and often shallow, whereas virtue is internal, consistent, and empowering. When we cultivate virtuous habits, we build a life of meaning and resilience, impervious to the swings of praise and criticism. Importantly, focusing on virtue does not mean neglecting social harmony or empathy. Rather, it aligns our interactions with reasoned judgment and ethical principles, creating relationships rooted in respect rather than manipulation or dependence. This approach nurtures self-respect, because one no longer compromises personal values for the sake of approval, and it fosters peace of mind, because validation is no longer a prerequisite for satisfaction. By internalizing this principle, challenges and adversity become opportunities to practice virtue, patience when provoked, courage when threatened, honesty when deceived, and generosity when ignored or taken for granted. The effort to live virtuously transforms everyday choices into deliberate acts of self-mastery, gradually reshaping character and perspective. Over time, the need for external approval diminishes naturally, replaced by a steady confidence in one's own moral compass. Ultimately, the pursuit of virtue cultivates a profound sense of freedom from the opinions of others, freedom from the compulsions of ego, and freedom from the insecurity that accompanies constant comparison. While society may reward conformity or superficial charm, those who anchor themselves in virtue discover an enduring satisfaction that cannot be taken away, a clarity of purpose that guides them through confusion and conflict, and a quiet strength that commands respect without demanding it. Focusing on virtue rather than approval is not merely a philosophical ideal. It is a practical strategy for living a life of integrity, resilience, and inner peace. It encourages us to measure success by the quality of our character rather than the fleeting judgment of the crowd, to seek excellence for its own sake, and to recognize that true fulfillment emerges not from external recognition, but from the unwavering commitment to be good, just, and wise in every circumstance. 7. Use reflection and journaling. Reflection and journaling are powerful tools for personal growth, self-awareness, and emotional mastery. By taking deliberate time to pause, think, and write down our thoughts, we create a structured way to process experiences, analyze behaviors, and understand our inner world. Reflection allows us to step back from the noise of daily life and objectively observe our actions, reactions, and decisions. It provides clarity by helping us identify patterns in our behavior, both constructive and destructive, that we might otherwise overlook. Journaling complements this process by turning reflection into a tangible record, giving us a mirror to our mind that evolves over time. Writing thoughts down forces us to articulate feelings, uncover hidden motivations, and confront uncomfortable truths. For instance, when faced with a stressful situation, journaling helps us dissect what triggered our emotions and how we responded, enabling us to make more conscious choices in the future. Moreover, reflection and journaling are not just about analyzing the past. They also guide planning and intentional living. By recording goals, aspirations, and lessons learned, we create a roadmap for growth that can be reviewed and adjusted regularly. This process encourages accountability and discipline, as it becomes harder to ignore patterns or excuses when they are laid out clearly on paper. Journaling also serves as an emotional outlet, reducing mental clutter and promoting mental well-being. The simple act of putting pen to paper can alleviate stress, calm racing thoughts, and provide a sense of control over one's mind. Over time, consistent reflection and journaling build a heightened sense of self-awareness, allowing individuals to recognize triggers, manage impulses, and make rational decisions rather than reacting impulsively. This practice is particularly aligned with the principles of Stoic philosophy, where self-examination is crucial for mastering desires, emotions, perspective, as writing down lessons learned, achievements, or even failures reframes experiences in a constructive way. Over months and years, these reflections accumulate into a valuable archive of personal evolution, illustrating growth that might otherwise go unnoticed. For anyone seeking emotional intelligence, better decision-making, or personal growth, reflection and journaling are indispensable. They transform passive experience into active learning, creating a habit of mindfulness and introspection that fosters emotional independence, clarity, and a deeper connection with oneself. Ultimately, the practice of reflection and journaling empowers individuals to live intentionally, understand themselves profoundly, and respond to life's challenges with calm, reasoned thought rather than reactive emotion, making it an essential tool for anyone on a path of self-mastery. 8. Remember the impermanence of situations. Life is a way of presenting challenges, triumphs, and setbacks that often feel permanent in the moment. However, one of the most powerful lessons in cultivating resilience and emotional stability is understanding and internalizing the impermanence of situations. Nothing in life, no joy, sorrow, success, or failure, lasts forever. This realization is central to Stoic philosophy, mindfulness, and many spiritual traditions because it helps us maintain perspective when circumstances seem overwhelming. When we remember that situations are temporary, we no longer allow external events to dictate our inner peace. Painful experiences, no matter how intense, are not permanent. Heartbreak, loss, or disappointment will pass with time, just as moments of happiness and success do. This understanding prevents us from becoming enslaved to either fear or attachment. It reminds us that clinging desperately to positive experiences or resisting negative ones is ultimately futile because all conditions are transient. By embracing impermanence, we also develop a sense of gratitude and presence. We begin to appreciate good moments more fully because we know they will not last forever. Similarly, we learn to endure difficult moments with patience and equanimity because they, too, are fleeting. This mindset shifts our focus from wishing things were different, acting wisely in the present moment, making choices based on clarity rather than panic or longing. Remembering impermanence also teaches humility and reduces arrogance. Achievements, wealth, status, and recognition are temporary. They can vanish unexpectedly. When we grasp that our circumstances are not fixed, we cultivate a grounded sense of self that is independent of external validation. We stop identifying ourselves solely with what we have or what we achieve and instead anchor our identity in virtues, values, and the choices we make. Moreover, this understanding empowers us to handle uncertainty and change more gracefully. Life is unpredictable, and clinging to permanence creates suffering. By accepting the temporary nature of all situations, we reduce anxiety about the future and cultivate flexibility in our responses. We become more adaptive, recognizing that every challenge is an opportunity for growth and every success a reminder of life's fluidity. In practical terms, Remembering impermanence encourages us to act with intention, cherish relationships, and avoid unnecessary conflict because we understand the fragility of circumstances. We learn to detach from outcomes while remaining fully engaged in the process. Over time, this mindset fosters resilience, inner calm, and emotional independence. In essence, remembering the impermanence of situations is a profound lesson in balance. It teaches us to embrace life fully, endure its difficulties, and let go of what we cannot control. By internalizing this truth, we navigate life with wisdom, patience, and a deeper appreciation for the ever-changing flow of existence.